Yes, so the recording has started. Jivraj, you're good to go. You're not audible, I think. Is he here? Where did he go? Yeah, he is here.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, yes, you're audible, Jivraj.
Okay. So I would like to know how many of you have done any of the mock that was released. So there were four mocks. Okay, Tanmay have done a mock. Uh, Satyajit have done. Tushar have done. Okay, all of them have done. Oh, you have done all of them. All right. And Prashant have also done. So there are a few people. So what is the most common thing that you have analyzed while doing the mock?
Scrape, clean, and analyze.
Sorry.
Scrape, clean, then analyze.
Scrape, clean, and then
Analyze.
analyze. All right. Yeah, that is kind of true. And some transformation is also there. Then hosting is also there. All right. So here are the things that you would need during ROE. You can say. So first thing you would need a code editor such as VS Code or something, and then Python definitely, and after that Jupyter notebooks for keeping the uh, snippets of code ready with you, and while doing the ROE you would need it, so it will be very helpful. And along with these notebooks you can keep one AI assistant, so if it have some markdown then it gets some context of information and then it will help you to generate some code. So for that purpose you can keep Codium or Copilot, one of them. So this is VS Code. So once you go to this extension tab, you can search for some like EI. Yes. Yeah. So this is the one. Alright. Or you can keep Copilot or something. So these are a few things that you can keep so that it gives you some suggestion while you are writing the code, and which improves the speed. And then you would need some JavaScript snippets for web scraping, that is through dynamic sites. So some websites you can scrape using Beautiful Soup just by sending some request, but a few of them you would require JavaScript. So for JavaScript, just look at the part that is relevant for scraping, for example. CSS selectors. So over here we have these child selectors, and then attribute based selector is the most common one. So if I go to selectors, we have nested selector, nesting selector. So parent tool and child tool. Actually, this won't be of much use. This attribute select base selector is most common. So if you have in the HTML document, if you have an anchor tag with this particular href attribute value, then this is how you can select it. So if I go to inspect tab, and for example, this is a script tag with a type module. If I want to select this, so I can use our document. It is to identify the DOM, and after that we can use query select or all, and then just put a script. And then what is the way? After putting the script, we need to put the name of the attribute. So name of the attribute was type, and I need to put it without any quotes or anything. So it should be name of the attribute, then square basis, and then type is equal to. Okay, is my screen big enough? Is it visible, or should I zoom in a bit?
Zoom in a bit.
Looks good.
Oh yeah, sure. All right. And then in type we can put, I think module was the type. Yeah, it selects these three. I think there should be three scripts. So this is the module, and this is module, and this is module. So this is how you can select. But anyway, you won't be selecting script tag. Most of the time you will be selecting something from this div thing. Okay. So this is attribute based selector, which is very common. And then here are different ways to select. Represent element with the attribute name of whose value is white space separated list of words, one of which is exactly value. Like it is for multiple selecting things. And then if it starts with uh, some particular value. For example, if attribute a in anchor tag, if href starts with https, then you can match that. And then this checks in between the attribute, and then this is for adding an I, or this is for case insensitive. So these are different ways. You don't have to remember all of them. The most common that you would have to remember is these two, these first two. Okay. So this would just select all the attribute anchor tag with title being some value. It can be any value, and this is most common that you would be using in ROE. So these are the two things that you can keep with the notebook that you create. These are two JavaScript testing. Okay. And then XML and HTML scraping. So HTML scraping is similar to what I have just shown. So that was using JavaScript DOM uh, thing, right? So here you can use Beautiful Soup for parsing these things. I will just share the reference of the earlier one in Encanto. See, this is selectors and being docs. So particularly this section is important in TDS. And then class based selector. Class is another attribute only. And then ID based selector, it is also another attribute itself. And then what is that? The type based selector. Yeah, it's not that useful. So these three, four things you can go through them: attribute, class, and IDP selector. And then yeah, this combinators can be there, child combinator. So if you have some UL that is a list and which have this particular class, and then you want to select li out of all the li tags out of that, uh, which are just direct child. So this is how you can select them. So I think this selector part and then this combinator part, these are the two important things from here. All right. So number of questions vary. Like in some of the ROEs there were 8 questions, and in some other ROE there were 12 questions. In some other ROE there were 20 questions. So mostly it will be around 8 to 12, but it can be a bit different. Then this HTML scraping and XML scraping, you would be using Beautiful Soup for this. And particularly select and select one are the two things. So yeah, this is the one. And this is from Beautiful Soup's documentation. This select one, select works as query selector. So you just have to put a query in it. So for example, soup.div, and then if it needs to, so this is for all the tags, and then this is for ID being nm, and then this is for class being sub menu. So it have same syntax as query selector all, and then there is one more select one, which is it's not present over here. But basically, this select gives you a list, and then select one just gives one uh, first match that is there in HTML. So everyone has different. Or yeah, see the questions will be parameterized. Where can you get the recording of this session? I think on Sundarban's website, YouTube channel. That we'll discuss about it. All right, then this request library, it allows you to send requests to web pages for API response, or you can even get the HTML pages itself. So if I just go to discourse, I don't think I will be able to go there. Maybe I will have to log in. Also, if I go to network tab, and over here, if I just refresh this, I will see the all the requests that were being sent to fetch the data that is required. So if I go to fetch XHR, and then here I think in response, this is the information that that we have fetched. So directory column, it have like received and these things, but it doesn't have user data. I think this is the one that will be having user data. Yeah. Okay, this is about groups data, and I think this one have user data. Yeah, this is the one that have user data. So it gets you this data, and the same data you can send a request using. I think let me check if my VS Code have Postman or Thunderclient, something they can test on. It does have. Okay, does anyone know how I can send a request to any API? What are the key things that I require? Like if I want to get this data, then what are the things that we will be required?
A header and a body.
Yeah, header and body, and you might need cookies as well. So like if I go to this request, and then if I go to over here headers, and then this is the, yeah, this is the cookie. So it will be having few values, so those values would be you would need to send as cookies. So there is different ways to get data from any API. But if there is some question that is related to API, then they will tell you which way you would need to follow. If you need to send a post request, get request, and then if you need to send authentication uh, token in either headers or cookies, all those information will be provided. And then extensions like DB Viewer, you can install those extensions in VS Code itself, so it will be easier for looking at any SQLite database file. So if you would have gone through the mocks that was present, in two of them there were DB questions. So there might be more DB questions, and it is good to install these extensions. And then there are some CSV viewer extensions, and then JSON viewer extensions, and PDF viewer extensions. So these are things that will with the, that is most probably might be there, because in all the ROEs these are the common things that used to come. So having the viewers for each one of them is helpful. And then data wrangler, this is one of the extension that allows you to look at live variables or those kind of things. And then AI assistant we have already talked about. And then GitHub, if you want to push something, then it is useful. And then how you can prepare for ROE is like, if I go to GA2 page, for that, let me just go back to disclose. And this is a right. Let me go to, yeah, so in here, let me open a new folder. More options. Maybe down somewhere, and then it's peaceful. So before the actual ROE starts, you just keep a folder ready which have snippets of code for data extractions. So keep some code for HTML extraction and XML scraping, which comes in each term almost, and then use Beautiful Soup. Then there is ways for Excel and then Google Sheets as well. This is most popular way. It works for every site. And then for dynamic websites, as I told, JavaScript would work, and Selenium, it won't be of that use, but you can have a look at it online. And then browser extensions, few browser extension also help you to scrape data. And then for PDF scraping, just keep some code for Tabula module. If I go to this Tabula website, and then so this is the PDF path, and then DFS. It will read this PDF as a data frame, and then a stream is equal to that is for data being in continuous motion. And then this is for converting that PDF to or CSV file. So if I just have to create a notebook, I can create a new file, and then let me call it web scraping dot IFINB or something. And over here I can keep this code. And whenever if there is some question that asks for scraping some data frame, then this is how I can do it. So this will read PDF into list of data frames. So on first page, if there is some data frame, it will read it, and then on second page, it will read it, and it will store all of them in a list. And this is for remote.
Can PDF Plumber also do this, or Tableau only has this feature?
Uh, this remote one, right? Are you talking about this remote one?
Remote one.
I haven't tested with the
Okay.
remote PDF or PDF Plumber.
Sir, do we have to extract data always in CSV format?
Um, like if you can keep it inside a data frame, then it is very easy to deal with because we have data from multiple fields. Like we might have data from PDF scraping and then HTML scraping, and then you might have some data from databases. So all of them can be handled using Pandas data frame.
Okay, so we
And it's
can
easy to
extract
deal
data
with
and
CSV files.
so CSV file can be good for data frame.
Yeah, once you have it in data frame, you can save it as a CSV file.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
And once you have saved it in CSV file, you can even open it inside Excel and those viewers. Like if someone is very familiar with Excel, then they can just create a CSV file, and once they have created the CSV file, they can open it in Excel and then answer the questions that are there.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
And then keep some code ready for loading JSON files. I think it is
Yes, sir.
important and the JSON
Ye-
loads. Huh?
Sir, actually, I was saying that can you show these last two with example,
Which
the JSON and the Markdown?
like with one, and then data.json I ref, and then f dot read. I will read it, and once I have read this file, I can pass this content, and this should be JSON. Let's call it again, or let's call it JSON data. Print JSON data. But for this, I will need some Python file. It's a JSON file. Let me download it from somewhere else. It's JSON. Um, If someone trying to say something, then just open your mic and just speak up. File not found. Oh, that is because of its name not being valid. And now it loads as in JSON. But if you just what is the benefit of loading it as in JSON? Now if I can just get name of, let's call it zeroth. Oh, it doesn't have name. It have name. It is wrong. Okay. So this is how we can load a JSON file into the into here. And once you have this JSON file, you can even convert it to pandas data frame by using pd.read JSON, and I think this would convert it to pandas data frame. And, oh, we don't have pandas. Oh, okay. This is not like this. I think we just need to provide the path of this file to JSON. This is how you can read a JSON file into, I think, import pandas LTD. Actually, I'm using somebody else's laptop, so I don't know. This is some error with pandas not being installed correctly, but this is how you can read a JSON file in pandas data frame. And if you don't want to read it in pandas data frame, then this is how you can read it. Like for the sorting question, it can be done by loading it inside a pandas data frame, and it can also be done without loading in Python pandas data frame by just applying some sorting on dictionary itself. Good. And then putting in GA5. Or G3 or G2. Yeah, it will be happy. If you guys have some doubt, just open up mic and then just ask. Okay, I won't be able to read through chat.
In one of the sessions, so when we were like extracting the PDF from Excel, there were extra lines.
PDF from Excel, right?
Yes, sir. So, in the PDF truncator, we won't have that issue, or there will be an issue in that also.
PDF truncator.
Yes, sir.
What is that?
Like it. I forgot. It is a library actually.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Okay, I cannot guarantee if it won't be having an issue. So whatever data you get, just verify it. Okay, just open the PDF in. Uh, just open the PDF and try to validate manually for at least one file, and then
okay.
you will know about it if it requires something. Manual validation can be done, and it will be very quick. There won't be much files if these kind of things occur.
Sir, how to do SHA-256 encoding in Python?
Sure. I think hashlib is one module that you can use. But where is it required?
Sometimes they ask us to hash the entire output and then
Oh, okay, okay. SHA-256. So these are different things. I think this is 256. Okay, this is the one. This hashlib dot 256, and then the data that is there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So these are the 2-3 things that are new in this term for extracting data from PDF, and then this is that generates markdown from PDF. So this might be these are the new things that is something you need to focus on. If you go to this documentation, there will be some snippets of code which you can keep it in the Python notebooks. Like to retrieve your document contained in Markdown, simply install the package and then use it to apply code. So this is how you can get the Markdown text from a PDF. So this was one of the questions. I mean, this is in CA4, question number 10. Okay. And what are the other things? And then in LLM there are, so this is regarding encoding. So if I just go, like sometimes you won't be able to read a file directly. So for that you would have to require to give the correct encoding. So like over here, we are reading a CSV file as UTF-8 encoding, and here we are reading a text file as UTF-8 encoding. And let us say if you want to detect the encoding of a file, so this is how you can detect. So just keep this code in your Python notebook. It might be useful for reading some files. So for some files, you might need to uh, know their encoding. Otherwise, some character won't be appearing correctly. So CP1, these are different encodings. So for any file, just open it in binary format. Okay, see, readable binary format, and then you can detect their encoding type, and then when you are again opening it, then just provide encoding is equal to whatever is this result. If it says UTF-8, then use UTF-8. So this might be useful in some of the cases. Then regarding LLM API, so there are three things in LLM APIs. One is chat completions, which have basic prompt, like just message in user and then system format, and then there is few things like function calling, and then the other bit is vector embeddings, which are useful for calculating cosine similarity between two different words or sentences or documents also. So just keep some codes that are related to this, and I think it is in peak 3 module. You can find it. So this is sentiment. This is just a basic example which have user role, and then what is this idea about programming. There are basically two things. One is role as user, and then the other one is system. And system is about you provide information like what is purpose of this particular LLM. Like you are in a math solver LLM which does calculations like integration and those things, and those things you can provide, and then in user prompt you can give a question to it. And then calculating these tokens, like whenever you send a request, in response it will send you a number of tokens being used. It will send a total number of tokens, and then how many tokens it took as an input. Input token means when you send request, it will use some tokens, and then in output it will send some response. It will use tokens for that. So that's what you can have it. And then LLM text extraction. This is using so you provide a response format like URS. So Like you provide a response format and then it will have result in that particular format itself. Like you are a helpful math tutor, guide the user through the step by step solution and how can I solve these things. And then format should be JSON schema, and in JSON schema there should be steps, and then in steps it will be explanation. So it is just asking for the explanation for solving this particular question. Like that you can create multiple code, and then this is for encoding images or some other things like audios or those things. So encoding image is useful, like if you want to send something in images, you just open it and then you can use PS64 and then you can encode it. So this is encoded one, and then this is decoded one. So this encoded one you would have to send it to uh, LLM calls. Oh yeah, here is the example. So in messages, like this is how you can send. Type is image URL and then low. So all these codes create one uh, file. You can name it LLM snippets or something. .ipnb. And over here you can keep some code for uh, basic request, which have some user and system prompt. Then the other thing that we can keep is like function calling for getting a structured output from LLM. And then the other bit is image encoding. And then along with image encoding, you would need to send the encoded image to LLM. So send encoded image to LLM, and after that, and then you might need to keep some code for embeddings. So all these codes you can get it from this thing itself. So this is code for getting the embeddings, and after you get the embeddings, I think it is worth keeping a code for calculating cosine similarities. And most probably there will be question which would require you to get the embeddings, I mean cosine similarity between multiple things. So there might be 3 or 4 different things, and then you would have to calculate cosine similarity. So better to keep a for loop for those things. So for I in embeddings, and then uh, for j in embeddings, and then like you can create a pandas data frame. Df is equal to pd dot data frame, and columns can be word 1 comma word 2, and then similarity. And over here you can append it, like word 1 is I and then word 2 is j, and then this similarity is cosine similarity between these two embeddings. So this function you can keep it somewhere over here or somewhere so that it is already present. And this is something I would recommend to have, because I think most probably there might be some question that is related to embeddings, and it might need you to run for loops. So it is better to keep these things. I think this much of LLM stuff would be good enough. And then knowing some bash commands. This is for particularly SMGA1. I mean, anyway, you can get some alternative of these bash commands as well. So this is regarding grep is one that allows you to do pattern matching and those things. Grep, I mean, anyway, you can do it in Python itself using, I think it is V module or something. Yeah, this is for regular expressions that and you can create equivalent codes in Python as well. I think v dot find all or something is there. Yeah, this is for different things that you might need to match. This is for pattern matching, but no need to focus that much on it. And then for pandas, it will be required for cleaning few stuff, and then for cleaning as well, and then for applying some filters as well, and for doing some calculations as well, you might need it. And then networks X is one Python module that allows you to create a network, and the kind of questions might be what is the smallest distance between. Yeah, I mean, there might be multiple cities, and then to have the smallest distance and those kind of things. And then
Sir,
Excel and Google Sheets, these are the two things that can be used. And then Bash 64 encoding is for image and those things, image only. And then this VS Code, in VS Code, you can use a multi-line cursor for editing anything, for cleaning. And in data analysis also, in this network, it's like
just
network is
one.
particularly required for data analysis itself. Let me just go to network documentation, and I will show you a few examples. Tutorials. So creating a graph. By creating a graph, what I mean, like we used to have some graphs in Math 1 and TDS as well, like shortest distance between different cities and those kind of graphs, right? Shortest distance graph or something like that. Yeah, some kind of these kind of graphs used to be there. So these kind of graphs you can create it inside network X. This is how we create a graph. We just initialize a graph using network X, and then we start adding nodes to it. Like we are adding node 1, and then we are adding another node 2 to 3. This is an edge that we have added. And from the 2 from an iterable continuous iterable. Okay, it will add two different nodes. It will add 2 and 3 as well, and then after that you can add nodes with multiple things. And then anyway, after adding nodes, you can add edges between these nodes. So this is how we can add edges, and we can add multiple edges by providing it as a list. important bit over here is that there should be one example which have edges with the weight. We'll go to that. Edges with weights, something like that. Uh, Network links edges with the weights. So these B to A edge and then it have 0.6 as weight. So you can add an edge between A to B and then with this particular weight. So this is the important bit you can focus on. Then after adding weights, there are applications like distance between two CPUs. Yeah, so this shortest path length, this will just get the length of the path. There should be one more function, shortest path, I guess. So it will take G and then it will get you shortest path between all the pairs. So all pair shortest path and then all pair Dijkstra. So these are different algorithms that can be used. So P is equal to shortest path from target 0 to source to target 3. Yeah, so this will calculate shortest path from every other node that have source as 0, and then it will, this is for like if there is a directed edge from A to B, and if source is A, then it will calculate distance between shortest path between A and B, like that. So this is for source, and then if you want to extract for a particular target node, and then this is how you can use that, and then this is NP1. This is for all the targets, and if you have calculated shortest path for all the target, then this is how you can access the source node. So these are things that you need to focus from network X, how to create a graph, and after creating a graph, how you can use these distance formulas. Okay. And then this is scikit
So,
learn is a module that is present in MLP. It won't be of much use because it is not from week 1 to 5, but still you can have a look at it online. And then SQL, I think it is from week 5. So this is the one. Yeah, this is regarding SQL query. So JSON extract is the function that like there should be one question. Now let's just have a look at what is there in this. Oh, not here. It must be here. Ah, so let's start from the sales table. What is the name of this table? There is some problem with S key on the keyboard that I'm using. Working over here, but it's not working here. I don't know why. Okay, like I can do one thing. Query selector, and then input is the streaming. Let me go query selector all, and I think this is the one. Oh, this is not. Yeah, this is the one. Select a star from social media. So this will get us this JSON. I mean, this comments is an array. Okay, over here, this is the one, which have JSON in it. So if you want to get something out of that, like if I just select comments, it's a list of JSON arrays, and then if I use JSON extract function, which is mentioned in the above one of these, I think this is the one. If I use JSON extract and then if I put comments and then if I use dollar name, it won't work. But if I use it for the 0th index, it will work. So this is something that allows you to parse JSON arrays and JSON objects in SQL queries. And then there is one more, which is unnest, which is very useful. So just keep some code ready for reading database, which is a popular one, and then like read a database inside Pand. You can create a connection between SQLite database, and then you can read that database inside Panda. Just I will show. I won't be executing the code, uh, and always create a new IPyNV file, like SQL snippets or something, and then just import SQLite3. And once you connection is equal to, I think this will get us the yeah, connection is strength if we have test data, and then pd dot data, and not data frame, it is read underscore SQL, and yeah, select start from. So if this particular database have some table, let's call it uh, random table. And if this particular database have random table, then it will read everything from that particular table. So this is how you can read things in pandas itself. So that's why you can keep everything. You can convert everything to pandas and then do a lot of things. And then SQLite is another database that we just have used. LLM embeddings we have already talked about. And then data deployment, there is the two modules. This is fast API server one. So there might be chances that they would require you to host something, and then for this purpose, just keep some code snippet for get request.
Junaid, can you show the database one? Like I think you
Sure.
instead you directly did it
You would
without
need to create
updating
an
anything.
application, and after that, you must always add a middleware to any application that you create because it must be accessible through outside the world. So if it requires to submit a URL on your local system, then allow origins. Uh, Either you can allow this origin, this particular exam.assignment.workers.dev, or just put star so that it is accessible to all the domains, so that anyone can send request to it. I mean, it can just send through your machine only because it is not available on outside network. And then uh, these are the methods that are allowed. You can just put a star over here. So this is how you can add middleware to your application so that it is accessible through other domains. And then keep some snippets of code for get request and a few for post request. And then these individual requests you keep, uh, say, two different codes for get request. Just keep something like query and coded parameter, and then for post also just keep some snippets for body parameters and also query encoded parameters. And then from this bit, like you might need to give access to outside world using ngrok as well. Something that might be useful to look at. So today I would suggest you to create notebooks for each one of these different modules which are required. For example, we don't have a anything for PDF scraping, so you can see create one PDF scraping notebook. Okay, it is because its name is different. Okay. For different things, just create few notebooks.
So could you share the link to the Google Doc that you are
So yeah, just go
referring?
through each of these things and then try to analyze the things that can be reused. Try to get the things that are reusable, the code that you can reuse, and start keeping it inside these notebooks. For selectors, this is important bit. CSS selectors, and over here we can have their rules and then cons. And this is just yeah. These are two dates, and then we can. I have done this question using JavaScript and Python. So, yeah, these things you don't have to keep like not for everything, but keep the important bits. Like here, keep some code from GitHub and processing files, and then CSS selectors, and how you can use JSON, and how you can extract CSV from. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Okay. So this JSON and then extracting these things and then using GitHub. This is also important stuff. This is not that important. I mean, just don't keep snippets for these questions. But yeah, these CSS selector, GitHub usage, and then using JSON, extracting from CSV files. These things are very useful. And from GA2, we have already talked about fast API things and grok things. Those are the important bits. And yeah, this GitHub Actions is also there, which is one of the important bits. Like that, just go through each of them. We have already talked about GA3, which are the important bits, and then GA4. Over here, there is one question related to. There are two new modules. Just keep something ready for that, and then extract a table from PDF. This is from this comes under PDF scraping, and then importing something in Google Sheets that you can do in Beautiful Soup as well. So it's up to you how you want to do it. And then scrape IMDb movies. So this is also web scraping or API scraping. And then this is API scraping. This is also some API research hacker news. So this is mostly about API scraping or web scraping or PDF scraping. And then in G5. Yeah, this is the good question that you can practice on. This will teach you about how you can clean data. This Apache log file have, I think, space separated values, and then it will have some problem in this particular field, user agent. There will be multiple spaces, so you will have to identify how exactly you will be uh, cleaning it. I would have cleaned these things by just splitting using Python, and then these two by splitting it in reverse direction, and then whatever is left over, I would have put it in this one. So this is how I have started. So just practice these things. And yeah, this SQL one is very important, and this is nested. Using. Okay. Okay, so this is it in G5. And then I have talked about what is other important things like network X that you would have to look at it. And in network X, there is only two important bits like creating a graph, adding some nodes to it, and then after adding nodes, how you can calculate shortest distances. You can even write algorithm for it, but there are predefined functions that are already available, which are very short to use. They are not bulky. So, does anyone have any questions so far?
So how will the question related from Docker will come? They will ask us for commands, or we will have to give a image repository or something like that.
Shivam, in case if you are trying to say something, you are not audible. Or is
Sir,
it
am I
problem with
audible?
my microphone? Sorry, my speakers.
Shubham is audible, I think.
Okay, Ritvik is also not audible. I think I will try to reconnect. Can someone try to speak something?
So are you able to hear now?
Okay, let me rejoin. What is the problem with it? I don't. Hello.
Are you able to hear now?
Okay, there is some problem with the settings. I will just. Yeah. Can anyone say something now?
Yes, sir. Can you hear now?
Yeah. You guys have been trying from a long time to connect, is it?
So I think when you received the call, the voice source was switched, I guess.
I think okay. I think that is when it turned off. I don't know for what reason it turned off my microphone.
So actually, I was asking like, how will the Docker question come? Will you ask for the commands to create a Docker file, or we will have to create a repo or something?
I mean, pushing something to Docker takes a lot of time, so there won't hardly there will be a question. The at most you can get a question is like run something inside Docker container and then expose a particular port. But that also you can bypass because you can expose a port from your machine or VM itself. So it doesn't actually know if you are using Docker or something. But yeah, for Docker also, just keep some. Yeah, you might have to run some image. So there might be some image that is pre-built image. Let us say they give you some URL to image, and then you might have to run that image. Not pushing something, but you download it and then you run that image inside the container. So that is possible, and then they might send some request to it. Like you don't have to build the image, but in some pre-built image, they might ask you to download and run it inside the Docker container. That is something you can keep ready.
Okay, okay, sir. So, and the timing, sir, will be 45 minutes only.
Yes.
Sir, the ROE will be like GA's portal.
Yes, the portal will be similar to GS.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Like, sir, are like the number of questions have been decided.
That is something I don't have any idea about.
Sir,
Around you can expect 8 to 12, or it can be higher or lower as well. I don't exactly know the answer.
will we be able to check our answers before submitting?
Yeah, there will be check answers.
Jivraj, what kind of questions are they getting? That MCQs or numericals or anything like that? What?
They would have to type the answer. It's most
अरे
probably.
यार, पहले पहले क्या होता था ना, देवर एमसीक्यूज, तो किसी का कुछ नहीं होता था, तो जितने 8-10 क्वेश्चन होते थे सब में बी या ए मार दो, एक दो तो सही हो ही जाएंगे, दैट वाज द प्रोबेबिलिटी. बट छोड़ो यार, तुम लोग की किस्मत खराब है.
I think
सर
just
आप
collaborate
रिलेटिव
करो.
मार्किंग करवा दो इस टर्म में, क्योंकि मेरे को तो नहीं लग रहा.
Sir, everyone will have like a different ROE.
So parameters will be different, but uh, I mean idea will be same. Just changing parameter will be different.
Oh,
Question will be same, just parameter will be different.
So if we are able to extract, matlab the data extraction code will be same only for anyone. So anybody gets it right, well, we can use the
Yeah, it will be at ECQ itself.
Can you show that database code? Like I am doing it using that engine approach, but maybe you can connect it directly, like you showed.
Excuse me, I'm audible.
Yeah, Rohit, you're audible.
Can you go through any of the mocks? Actually, the first mock, the issue with me was my GPT wasn't really working. Uh, uh, I mean, it was unable to scrap that, and by that time, it was 1 or 15 minutes. So I really wanted to know how to approach this type of questions. Like the GPT worked for me during the GAs, but from now on, it's not working.
Yeah, that's the problem. ROE के time GPT will never work. There is some sort of curse. Uh, हम लोग के टाइम पे यही होता था. It used to work perfectly fine during the graded assignments, but जैसे ही ROE का टाइम रहता था 45 minutes, उसमें GPT अलग ही misbehave करता था. So you need to be prepared for that.
Okay, so DB files actually will work, na? I was using SQL Alchemy, so that was the code was working, but it was looking ugly. But this is much better. So this will work with all DB files, huh?
Yeah, you can create connection with even PostgreSQL files, MySQL files, but most probably those files won't be there. Just SQLite database will be there. This connection string will change if it is some other database. Like, so few databases might require passwords.
Would SQL Alchemy be the better bet, huh? Does it work with multiple databases?
I mean, Pandas also allows you to connect with multiple databases.
Hmm.
It's just this connection string will change. Yeah, it will have some user ID, password, and these things, host and local host. Some string like this.
Okay, this is something GPT can help in, now.
Oh yeah, it can help. Someone was asking for opening one of the mock. Was it Raj Rohit or something?
Yeah, it was me. I wanted you to solve the very first mock.
Have you done other mocks like mock
Um,
2, mock 3, mock 4?
the thing is, I'm unable to scrape the data. Uh, every
Okay,
time it
maybe
gets
then you can share your screen at what exactly what step you stuck.
actually, I'm not having my laptop right now, else I would have done that.
But
Um,
if I start writing code, it will take a lot of time.
no, I just wanted to go through GPT and like retrieving the data from there, like viewing your data source and explaining it to GPT so that it can really understand what I mean. Like what type of data it is. I'm scraping to HTML. It's a PDF data. Like the fourth mock. I was able to scrape the data. It was quite clear. Then I didn't approach to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a different thing. But in the very first mock, I was even unable to get my data. In the my GAs, what was the real thing of GAs was the data was already given. You need to process that and give the answers. But that is not happening in your project as well as in ROE. So that is what causing an issue maybe.
In ROE, there was this GIF file, right? In mock ROE, there is some lag with my machine. It's not able to open any tabs. Oh, it is particularly problem with browser. Now it has started working. Okay, let me open one of the. You have link for that mock right now? Hello.
The G1 data is not available with us, right?
The GA1, huh?
Yeah, GA1 was not given to us. It was restricted, I guess.
It's available. You can see it.
Okay, yeah, G1 data. So this is must be. I have to log into my GitHub. It must be in
Sir, I
repository.
think someone sent in chat.
Okay, you're talking about mock one, huh?
Yeah, this is the one that it took us. So GitHub Actions. It must have the page.
Dynamic scrapping won't come in mock, right? In
Dynamic
ROE.
scraping might come. You might have to use JavaScript for doing some dynamic scraping. But if dynamic scraping comes, it won't be that complex. Going to some other page and then scraping. So this is states data. It must be in the table itself. Like all of these can be identified with a class T. It will identify all this whole table, and after that, it can identify these rows using class R, and then each of these columns using uh, class T. So this is how you can get this data into the, like you can send a request to all of these pages, or like if there is these many pages, it will come through some zip file. Okay, and also you can download it directly from here. The download zip, it will get all these files inside a zip file itself. And then if I go to one of, so this R will have these anchor tags. So you can loop over these different pages, and by clicking on next page button, so all these can be done using request module itself. And then you can go through each one of these tables, and then it have similar structure as the home page.
Can this be done using Excel?
I don't think so. It won't be. You won't be able to do it using Excel because it requires to go through multiple pages.
Okay.
Like, okay, let me show you what you can do. You can. We have this URL, right? One thing you can do is you can send a request to it, and another thing you can do is you can download the zip file which have all these HTMLs. And once you get the HTMLs, let's call HTML file path, and this is some path to some HTML file, some .html, and then you open this HTML, and then I don't want to write anything out of to it. With open area, and then content is equal to dot read. And once you get this data, you can like create a soup object, something like this, and then on soup use select, which will select multiple tables, and then we need to put a div with a particular class, and the class is, I guess, t. This will select all the uh, this whole table on the page. And once we go to this page, this table, let me use select one because there will be only one table. Once you get the select one, then let's call it table itself. Then from table, we want to select our row, for which we had rows, right? So this will be having rows, and then some for loop like this. And then cells is equal to dot select C. Yeah, this is correct for cells. And this is how you can loop over each of these cell, and we can create a pandas data frame pd dot and then data frame. All right, or we'll create it at the end. Right now I will just keep everything inside the list itself, and once it goes through each of these cells, actually, if I just go back over here, this first one, this first tr, this, it will be having the header itself, right? So if I want header is equal to rows of 0, so this will be having header, and then from header we can select C. This will have information about the column that we need to create. Like, we don't need to actually create a column for this one. We can just remove this stuff. And after going through each one of these, for this particular page, so if I'm on this page, then yeah, I would need some header. Let me just bring it back. So this header
See,
will, yeah,
see, the thing with you is you know what to do, and actually you're trying to do it, and you will simply get an answer. But I feel many
yeah.
people
So
like
okay, okay,
me.
okay. Like, you want to use ChatGPT, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So uh, just provide these two lines, or these two three lines, so that it gets the context, how you what is there in file, and then also tell at the very end of this file there must be, there might be, not must be, okay. For some of the files there might be a few next pages. Does it have something? Yeah, this is the one. So to chat gpt provide that there is a anchor tag. So in this particular file there is only one anchor tag, okay. This is how you can identify these anchor tags, and you can tell at the end of these files there might be anchor tags. So this is how you can ask for one specific file, right? But then there are these multiple files. So give the information about this one as well. So this one have these different rows, and at the very end there is one href tag itself, which have value as next space page. So after passing through each of these table, okay, then you can match with one href which have next. So this is what you can provide the structure like. uh, I have a table with class T, and then there are rows, and within rows there are some cells. Uh, this is structure of table, and then after every page there is one link for next page at the very end in an anchor tag. And then I need to go through each one of these pages, and then also you would need to provide a structure of this HTML. Okay, let me use GPT now. I want to
Also, like when we give the this context to Codium, but like we do not have it locally, that also works in case of files being locally available.
yeah, that will also work. And after that, save HTML pages of elections.
The extension is Codium, right?
Yeah, Codium is the one. I think I do have. No, I have Copilot, not the Codium.
You can ask Copilot too sometimes. That it works in Python notebooks really well. Copilot.
Yeah, it have access to notebooks, so it will work. Save HTML data with there. There is a table on index page with following structure. Oh, I don't want. With following structure: div with class T, which identifies table div with class R for each row in table, div with class C for each cell in a row. Each row have anchor tag. To fields. Right. First row is header, which is as At the end of the file, there is a after processing table, there is a next page URL. With table, with row. Even if you give precise structure, you would have to do some manual stuff for getting it correct. And it's just the structure, like
Sir, can you just give a screenshot or something
screenshot of what?
like of the table?
This is the table. You can access it from
No,
this.
no, to GPT. I was saying.
You would have to explain it. But anyway, I won't be using this much GPT. I would first, I mean, see, this is like it just have some table, and then these are individual rows, and after each of these thing we have some href. Even you can give files to it, but even if you do that, it won't be able to give precise code that you need, so you would have to still do some manual stuff. I could- uh, let's try the screenshot, but I will have to log in, and I don't want to log in. Like if you don't know JS, then just learn. I mean, I don't want you to learn JS, but it is particularly attribute selector and those things. Like I'm pretty sure it won't help you exactly with this. Like installing Python and then scraping code, scrape election data response is equal to, you send a request to it, and then In response you are getting these things, and then you are going through the table, and then each of these rows, and for each rows you are finding out the cell. If cell is greater than 0, then these are the two things, and then you are going to the next page. And if yeah, this is yeah, this text should be next space page, so that's what it have made a mistake. Like uh, this text is next space page, and then scrape election detail response is equal to, this is the URL, and then after that soup is equal to this, and then headers, and then in headers you can go through each of these. Yeah, this is for next page URL, so it will run this not this one, this same one. And yeah, this is the other function that that is required for scraping through each of these pages. So it will go to the next page. It will try to identify the next page by executing this piece of code. But before going to next page, you can yeah, it is already here. If it have some link, then how it is getting the link? It is getting it through the cell of one. So that is uh, this state name itself. So state name have a link inscribed it in, and after that it is executing this function, state election underscore details, and here it is passing the link. So it is passing the correct link, and after that it is, so this is the header, and then for header in headers, and then print header. So instead of these printing stuff, you would have to replace it with saving it in pandas data frame. That's also something that should be part of prompt itself. So like you can put something like this.
Yeah, even this would help. Yeah, thanks a lot. Actually, I wasn't going through that. Uh, how to give the data, right? Like I was not visiting the page properly. I was not referring the tags.
Yeah, so this is what you would have to provide the context to GPT. Otherwise, it won't. It doesn't know anything about it. Still, it have created the correct header name rules. Just respond with Python code and save data in a pandas data frame. And you can even provide what you want exactly in that pandas data frame. So you want URL, and then these are the things that you would require to save. URL is for identifying each of these pages individually. But anyway, we don't need URL. None of the question requires any use of URL. So we can even remove that with columns. So see, it haven't generated anything extra, because if you in rules, if you ask it for generating just Python code, it will just generate Python code. It won't generate any extra information. It have generated this extra information, but you can even restrict for generating this information by making this prompt a little bit robust. So now I think it will create a election underscore data, and then it is going through each of these rows, and after going through each of these rows, it is getting state name, votes, and different things, and then it is appending it to the list. After appending it to list, it is creating the data frame. Most probably, it should be almost correct code. Like it seems almost correct. It is going through each of these links, and then after that it is going to the next page link. It is almost correct. Just that instead of this URL, you can download these HTML files and then you can pass through them. Okay. All right, then I will stop the session here if there is no more doubt.